Welcome, seekers of truth, to the shadows of history where ancient prophecy meets modern war. Could a single flawless red heifer imported from Texas ignite the fuse for World War III? For some, it is just a beast. For the Islamic world, it is a clear declaration of war. But for biblical scholars, this creature is the final key to unlock the Great Tribulation. Today, we reveal the prophecy matrix, exposing the terrifying truth hidden in plain sight. Inside a high-tech, secure facility, modern rabbis examine a completely pure crimson animal. Using digital magnifying glasses, they obsessively search for a single incorrect hair color. Just 2 hairs of black or white disqualify this creature from its ultimate holy purpose. According to ancient texts, the heifer must be absolutely perfect and must never have worn a yoke. This is not a mere agricultural inspection, it is the preparation for a world-altering event. These imported Texas cows are treated as living artifacts of extreme geopolitical importance. The Israeli government and radical groups have spent millions securing these flawless specimens. Why does a modern nation-state invest so much military security into an ancient farming ritual? The answer lies buried beneath the golden dome of the most contested city on the entire earth. They are preparing to cleanse the sacred Temple Mount and rebuild the holy throne of God Himself. But to understand the terrifying future, we must journey back 3,000 years into the desert. The Book of Numbers, chapter 19, dictates the absolute law of divine purification from death. Moses was commanded to sacrifice a flawless red heifer outside the camp to cleanse the Israelites. The ancient high priest, dressed in pure white linen, slaughtered the beast beneath the desert sun. Its blood was sprinkled 7 times toward the holy tabernacle to satisfy the wrath of the divine. Then, the entire animal was burned to ashes alongside cedar wood, hyssop, and a scarlet yarn thread. These sacred ashes, mixed with pure spring water, created the only acceptable water of cleansing. Without this specific ritual, no Jewish priest could ever stand in the presence of the Almighty. If they approached the sacred altar without purification, historical records state they would surely die. This strict theological barrier has protected the Temple Mount from unauthorized entry for centuries. In the long history of Israel, scholars argue that only 9 red heifers were ever sacrificed. The great Jewish philosopher Maimonides prophesied that the 10th heifer would bring the Messiah. Since the tragic destruction of the Second Temple by Roman legions, the ashes were completely lost. For exactly 2,000 years, the Jewish people waited in exile without a pure red sacrifice. Without the 10th red heifer, the dream of rebuilding the Third Temple remained utterly impossible. Generation after generation prayed toward Jerusalem, desperately waiting for the red miracle. They scoured the globe, searching every herd, but a truly flawless candidate was never discovered. Until now, as modern logistics and fanatical devotion have finally solved the impossible puzzle. Would you sacrifice global peace to fulfill a religious mandate written thousands of years ago? For the Radical Temple Institute, the answer is yes, and they are moving with terrifying speed. The ancient priests operated in the quiet wilderness, but today, the stage is a volatile war zone. The ritual must take place on the Mount of Olives, looking directly into the ancient temple gates. Land has already been secretly purchased, and the massive stone altar is currently being constructed. Young priests from the sacred bloodline of Aaron are currently training to perform the bloody sacrifice. They live in isolated purity, never touching a graveyard, preparing their minds for the great day. The sacred vessels, the golden menorah, and the priestly garments are already waiting in the vault. The final piece of this apocalyptic puzzle is no longer missing. The red heifers are finally here. However, this theological triumph is simultaneously a massive geopolitical catastrophe waiting to strike. The proposed location for the third temple sits exactly upon the noble sanctuary of Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is the third holiest site in Islam, a sacred place defended by millions of passionate believers. Any attempt to alter the status quo on this holy mountain will instantly ignite the Middle East. Military analysts warn that sacrificing the heifer could trigger an unstoppable holy war tomorrow. The spokesman of Hamas explicitly mentioned the red cows as a core reason for their brutal attacks. They understand the prophetic implications clearly. The ashes mean the destruction of their sacred dome. It is a theological true crime where both sides are willing to spill endless blood for sacred stones. The Israeli government is trapped between pleasing religious extremists and avoiding global destruction. The tactical diorama shows armies mobilizing as neighboring nations prepare for the worst outcome. But the conflict over the Temple Mount is not just a battle of modern missiles and political borders. Christian theologians warn of an even darker consequence hiding behind the Third Temple project. According to the Book of Revelation and the prophet Daniel, the new temple will harbor pure evil. They prophesy that the Antichrist will eventually enter this rebuilt sanctuary to claim absolute power. He will halt daily sacrifices and demand global worship, creating the Abomination of Desolation. This deceptive shadow will manipulate the desperate desire for peace, plunging the world into darkness. The red heifer is therefore not just a blessing for Israel, but the ultimate trigger for the Antichrist. The shadow of the deceiver already looms large over the miniature map of the Golden Holy City. Extremists believe they are rushing the Messiah, but they might be rolling out the red carpet for hell. Every fiber of the red cow is a ticking time bomb, counting down to the great and terrible tribulation. If building the temple summons the darkest evil, should humanity unite to stop this ancient ritual? The clock is ticking because a red heifer is only valid for sacrifice before it turns 3 years old. Some of the perfect Texas cows are rapidly approaching the age limit, forcing a terrifying deadline. The rabbis must act soon, or they will lose this rare generational opportunity to cleanse the mountain. Behind closed doors, frantic diplomatic negotiations are failing to calm the rising storm of holy fury. Drones patrol the skies above Jerusalem, monitoring every movement around the highly contested borders. A single match dropped in this religious powder keg will send shockwaves through the global economy. The geopolitical dominoes are perfectly aligned, waiting for the blood of the red beast to finally spill. The ritual has been entirely mapped out, and the holy fire is practically waiting for the final spark. The ashes of the red cow will undoubtedly reshape the spiritual and political borders of the earth. Yet, as the radicals fiercely prepare for war in Jerusalem, a strange shift occurs across the desert. Saudi Arabia, the traditional powerhouse of the Islamic world, is making unexpected diplomatic moves. Instead of demanding war, they are silently navigating a complex path toward unprecedented normalization. the rulers of the desert are focusing on massive futuristic projects rather than ancient holy conflicts. They are pouring trillions into artificial intelligence and building impossible mega-cities like Neom. This glowing blue technological utopia stands in stark contrast to the bloody ancient sacrifices. But biblical scholars point out that this sudden shift in alliances perfectly matches ancient prophecies. The book of Ezekiel speaks of merchants from Tarshish and Dedan watching the apocalyptic northern invasion. Could the modern Saudi kingdom be playing a predetermined role in the grand prophetic matrix of the end? While Israel focuses on rebuilding the past, their Arab neighbors are aggressively building the future. The collision between ancient blood rituals and futuristic utopias will define the next global chapter. The red heifer is merely the opening act of a divine play that will consume all the nations of the earth. The prophecy matrix is real, and the ancient scripts are currently downloading into our daily reality. We are standing on the very edge of history, watching the final apocalyptic chess pieces move into place. The ashes will fall, the temple will rise, and the world will never be the same after the smoke clears. Is building the third temple a divine mandate or a fatal geopolitical error? Will this ancient ritual bring eternal peace, or will it unleash the ultimate global conflict? Share your thoughts below. Hit that like button and subscribe to uncover more hidden prophecies.